So I'm replacing a handrail on my outside steps. This is the handrail. And the problem with handrails is they don't make exterior wood handrails. So you have to buy interior ones, and they don't hold up to the weather. This is the end, you can see rotted off, even though it's been painted and maintained. So I decided to replace it, and I went to the lumber yard to look at handrails, and there's several different styles. They're fairly expensive because they're all hardwood, usually oak or other hard woods. And the problem I ran into is I needed, my handrails are 102 inches long, and handrails come in either an 8-foot section or a 12 or 16 foot. So, and they're very expensive, and I just hated to have to buy a 12-foot to cut off approximately 4 feet of it to waste. And also the fact that it's not treated lumber, it's not going to hold up. So what I elected to do instead was go with metal. I priced out aluminum ones, and they were very expensive. Wrought-on ones, or you can get custom-made ones, and they're also expensive. So what I decided to do was make my own. So I purchased 10-foot sections of galvanized pipe, and this pipe is actually pipe that you would use at the top of a chain link fence. They were $21 a piece, as compared to probably close to $100 for a 12-foot handrail. I cut them down to 100 inches. I need 102 inches. And then I purchased end caps that'll get welded on to complete the 102 inches. Then I'll measure where they hook onto the handrail brackets and drill holes, and either screw them in or use bolts. I haven't decided whether I'll thread the pipe to use a bolt or just use screws. So what I'm doing today is I chamfered the edge a little bit so that I have a nice groove to put my weld into, and we'll go from there. You have to use a little bit of caution when you're welding galvanized, so I'll probably grind off a little more of the galvanized around the edge just to get some of the galvanized coating off it, so a little fewer fumes. But I am going to be welding outside, and I wear a mask to protect myself when I weld, so that shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to get back at it. Just wanted to start out and show you what my plans are. Okay, so I got the end caps welded on, cleaned up with the grinder. So the next step, I got them on both ends. So the next step is sand it down on paint. I may put a little bit of body putty on there just to fill in some of the rough spots, smooth them out a little bit. Doesn't really need much. I was using 80 grit on this grinder, so I'm got a little bit of rough, but won't take much body putty, if anything. So it'll be on the paint. So I decided to use a little body putty after all to smooth out some of the welds. I'm not the world's best welder, I'm just learning. So I put some Bondo on there, sanded it down with some 80 grit and then 150 grit sandpaper. And then I went over the entire length with 150 grit sandpaper to clean up the pipes. And then I'll go back over with a acetone or a cleaner to get any oil off. And then I'll need to start with some primer. Now these are galvanized, so you need to use the right primer. You can look up what you want. There's several options. You can look up what you want to use. I have some etching primer that I'm going to put on there, and then put the top coat over top of that. So on to the next step. So I took the handrails down to where they're being installed. I took this one off, and I clamped them on the brackets that hold the handrail, and I marked them. So I'll show you the mark on down here, the little markers. So now what I'm doing is using my drill press and stand to get very accurate holes. I did practice on one of the scrap pieces that I cut off, just to see exactly what size bit I should use and what screws I was going to use. I've elected to use these because they have a socket head on them, and I felt that that would be better if I ever want to take them off, rather than trying to use a straight screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver that may strip out. When I mount them, I will put a little bit of anti-seize on these screws to hopefully keep them from rusting to the metal. And I'm going to continue drilling. Like I said, I'm using my Harbor Freight magnetic bars that as a guide in the drill press. Another use for these tool holders from Harbor Freight. I have a video on some other uses, and I'm gonna get back to it. So here are my handrails installed on the steps. Mounted them on the brackets. So total cost of the job is about $45, give or take, plus my labor. So hope that gives you some ideas on how you can do some inexpensive railings, and I'll catch you on the next one.